Shalom Alechem. Anyone watching the interaction between President Trump and the Ukrainian President Zelensky right away noticed the difference in the attire. The President Trump, was sitting with a beautiful suit, a beautiful tie, and Zelensky came with like army sweater and looked very awkward in the place that he was, which was the White House, the highest place that you need to dress accordingly. And indeed, one of the reporters asked him the question straight out, why is it that you don't wear a suit? You don't own one? And he gave him an answer, whatever he answered, but let's see, maybe he's right not to dress with a suit. After all, the most important thing is not the exterior of the person, but rather the inside, what message he has to give, what he brings with him, and not the way he looks on the outside. Well, in our Parashat Tetzaveh, we see that the Torah points out that clothing are important. The clothing of the Kohen and the Kohen Gadol are written in details in our parasha. Much detailed to the point that the Torah summarizes and says that the clothing are lechavod ultifaret. It's for the honor and for the glory. It comes to elevate the person. In what way? Two ways. In the way that people look at you and the way that you perceive yourself. Your self-esteem much dependent on the way you express yourself and the way you look and the way you dress. The dress gives you confidence or on the opposite. And we see that Chachamim tell us in Gemara Baba Batra Yud Aleph that when people came in Shlosha Regalim to Beit HaMikdash, it would make an impression on them, a lasting impression, that when they would go back home, what they saw in Beit HaMikdash, the work and the Kohanim and the glory of the Beit HaMikdash would continue that feeling for a very, very long time after they came home, making them more spiritual, connected to Hashem, Mitzion Tetzeh Torah, and that was one of the messages of a Kohen dressing the way he was in order to impress, to cause that impression to others that come to see him at the avodah, at the service of the Beit HaMikdash. But as we said, it also gives the person himself a feeling of confidence, of assurance. When a person dresses nicely, respectfully, he behaves in such a way. On the other hand, you can't deny that one that wears jeans or wears shorts feels and behaves more loosely than a person that dresses respectfully. And therefore, you can see that that exactly was the exchange between the two presidents. The president of Ukraine was sitting there. He looked like a little kid sitting in front of President Trump, who was preaching him, and almost he was screaming at him and belittling him. And that was much to the way he expressed himself. He looked like a kid. He looked dressed like a teenager. He didn't look respectful. In that, he was already in disadvantage. And that's what we learn from our parasha. It's a very, very important message to all of us also in Avodat Hashem. Because if you dress respectfully, you behave respectfully as well around others, and they'll respect you accordingly. So if we are to represent the Torah and to represent Hashem nations, we need to dress accordingly as well.